Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul del Rincon, and I am the Port Director here for the Port of Eagle Pass, Customs and Border Protection. First of all, let me say that with everything that's going on, I'd like for you to know that we continue to facilitate trade and travel. With as busy as we've been, that's always something that's in the back of our minds there, and actually in the front of our minds, and we're doing what we can there to process vehicles, to process trucks, to process trains, to process pedestrians into the United States. CBP is monitoring the situation. We continue to assess our capabilities and facilities here at the Port of Eagle Pass, and will continue to make necessary preparations. These include participating in operational readiness exercises and the mobilization of resources as needed to ensure the facilitation of trade and travel. CBP here in Eagle Pass is well prepared. We're working with interagency partners to implement effective operational plans to ensure border security. We're also working with our Government of Mexico partners to ensure the same. CBP has reinforced the front line with personnel in advance of an intended caravan arriving here in Eagle Pass, Piedras Negras. At this point, the system is at a total capacity at all points in the process. The status quo is not sustainable. The situation demands action at a variety of fronts. At a port of entry, a message for the asylum seeker, we ask that you be patient with our processes and that you present yourself for the process in a manner in which you are patient and wait until you are called, depending on our case levels at those times. That's all I have. U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew Hudak. I'm the Acting Chief Patrol Agent for the United States Border Patrol's Del Rio sector. And as Port Director Del Rincon mentioned, our first and foremost role down here is maintaining public safety and the integrity of our borders. As the Office of Field Operations works to maintain normal operations at the port of entry, we have increased our presence between the ports of entry along the area here in Eagle Pass. We've significantly increased the amount of Border Patrol agents. We're having support from our partners, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and want to make sure the message is clear that there is a right way to seek asylum and to seek entry into this country, and that's using a lawful port of entry in the process at the port of entry. If somebody chooses and makes that choice to enter illegally at a point other than the port of entry, we want to remind folks that that is a criminal offense. They will be arrested and they will be handled accordingly. So we're encouraging everybody to do it the safe way, do it the right way, go through the port of entry, not take the risk and the dangers of going across the river. We have been monitoring the situation, as Mr. Del Rincon said, working with our partners in Mexico, sharing information, being aware of what's happening there. We've made the adjustments that we need to on this side to be prepared, and our focus remains maintaining the operations as normal as possible, but also being mindful that our role is to maintain the safety of our officers, agents, the public, and the migrants that we may encounter. So those are our responsibilities. Our intent is to make sure that the area, the environment here remains lawful, remains safe. If at the point that the officers, agents, the public, or the migrants are in danger, then we will respond to that accordingly. So again, thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Ramsey Cantu, Mayor for the City of Eagle Pass. And as mentioned by Port Director Paul del Rincon, and of course our Director over at the Border Patrol, we are very, very appreciative of the work that is being conducted at this point. It is important for us to make note that as we are going through this process, that the community know and that everyone know that there is a very coordinated effort between all levels of the agencies for state, local, and federal. This is something that is key for us. This has been key for our community. We know that we will continue with these efforts. This is a long process, and as mentioned by the individuals, of course, that have spoken before me, this is a process in which these individuals who have approached our sister city of Piedras Negras need to assure that there is an order of following, that we need to assure that there is a process that is followed for our federal government, and it is very clear to us that we have been sending that message, of course, to them, working together with our sister city of Piedras Negras and the state of Coahuila in order to assure that those messages are sent and to maintain order with this crowd. It is something that is important to us, and we're going to continue working on that. I do want to emphasize, of course, my thanks, and the thanks, of course, on behalf of the citizens of Eagle Pass for the work that is being done by our federal agencies and our state agencies, specifically, of course, thanking the governor's office for assuring that the Texas Department of Public Safety is present in order to assure that order within our community as well. As we are not seeing any particular issues at this point within the city limits, this of course is something that is just a very heavy presence of law enforcement that is all working together to assure the efforts that are ongoing with this operation. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for being here and for helping us continue with this message. One thing that is important to make note as we continue to move forward with this is that there is a need for a more aggressive immigration reform system to be put into place. These are the efforts that need to be done in order for us to assure that our nation is protected, and that obviously that these types of situations do not happen to communities such as ours or any community that is alongside the border. So with that, those are of course my comments, and once again I just thank you all for taking part here today.
Mr. Rincon, would you be able to say something in Spanish for the Spanish language? Sure. Here now.
Bueno, muy buenas tardes. Ahora en español. Primeramente, les quisiera avisar que entre todo lo que ocurre ahorita, nosotros seguimos con nuestras responsabilidades, a como se debe con el flujo del tráfico. Seguimos agilizando todos nuestros procesos en todas las áreas. Seguimos monitoreando nosotros la situación que existe. Seguido estamos verificando nuestras capacidades y para asegurarnos que estemos preparados por si nos llega una cantidad de gente que no estamos listos para recibir. Esto incluye los simulacros que han visto últimamente en los puentes 1 y el 2. Y eso seguirá, esa es práctica para nosotros y es algo que tenemos que hacer a diario nosotros. Estamos bien preparados, yo creo que se ha visto eso últimamente, especialmente en los simulacros estos. Hemos trabajado con nuestros compañeros a todos niveles de los Estados Unidos y de México también. Estamos preparados y tenemos el personal nosotros en nuestras guardarrayas, y seguiremos con nuestros esfuerzos ahí por si llegara a llegar la cantidad esta grande de caravana. Entonces estaremos preparados nosotros ahí. A este punto nuestra capacidad está hasta el límite. No tenemos campo en nuestras oficinas, estamos recibiendo a la gente a como se pueda. Es poca la gente que se recibe, pero se está recibiendo a las cantidades que se pueda. Hasta este punto lo que nos pide la situación esta es muy diferente en muchas diferentes áreas de nuestros puertos, pero seguimos nosotros, como les digo, monitoreando todo para estar preparados por si llegan estas cantidades de personas grandes.
Oficial de Rincon, ¿podría usted decirnos qué están ustedes preparando en el caso de que un grupo de 100 o 200 personas traten de cruzar el río de manera ilegal?
Exacto, pues yo le diría, a como se trata de los puentes, de las oficinas de aduana y protección fronteriza, el proceso de nosotros es mientras que la persona llegue al puente solicitando el asilo y lo haga pacientemente y se ponga en fila hasta que les toque su turno, Entonces eso es lo que se les pide a ellos en los puentes. Como se trata de las entradas ilegales por el río, entonces eso le perteneciera más al jefe Hudak, pero como dijo él, ¿no? Es algo que no se les recomienda a nadie que entren por el río, por el agua, que mejor lo hagan bien, lo hagan correcto y que se presenten por un puerto de entrada.
A resident had reported a temporary closure, multiple temporary closures. Have there been any closures?
No, not necessarily a closure, sir. It's mostly we're stopping traffic to run our scenarios, our drills. We haven't closed because of anything else other than that. So, and like I said, it's usually quickly. You know, like I mentioned, there we do have that pressure to keep traffic moving in both directions into the U.S. and to Mexico. So therefore, it's only been like I said, we've conducted numerous exercises, but it's typically never really closed for long.
How long is traffic stop? About how long is traffic stop?
It varies. It varies. It depends too on the bridge. You know, it's gone for 15, 20 minutes. You know, plus or minus. Like I said, just depending on the numbers and the personnel that we've got out there at the bridge.
That's what some residents said.
You say that you are at full capacity to interview these people, because I understand that you take 20 people for a day and a half. Have you requested from the federal government assistance to actually speed up the process for a lot of these individuals, for your ports at least?
Yeah, so there's conversations at all levels and with many entities as it relates to that capacity.
Yes.
And so we're looking at you know at our processes here at the port as it relates to the case processing itself.
Yes.
And then also looking at the area or the issue of the transportation / detention. And so we're looking at this at all levels, absolutely.
¿Se le va a dar preferencia a inmigrantes enfermos y por algún impedimento?
No, señor, el proceso es para las personas que siguen. No, ya estando en nuestras instalaciones, si las personas no se vienen sintiendo bien, entonces sí se les ofrece esa oportunidad, ¿no? De que
Porque hay
sean
muchas madres de
evaluados.
familia con hijos enfermos, enfermedades crónicas, que quieren este apoyo, entonces por eso lo pregunto.
Eso habíamos escuchado yo con las pláticas con nuestros compañeros de México. Habíamos visto que muchos, según venían con gripa, ellos nos verificaron que sí, unos sí vienen sintiéndose mal, sí vienen con enfermedades, pero la mayoría venían bien, ¿no? Así es.
How long is that process going to take? Transporte desde el albergue hasta el puente para que sea de manera ordenada, con un tipo de 5, 4 al día, 10.
No estoy seguro cómo se está trabajando eso del lado mexicano.
How long is that process going to take and how many people do you come through that a day?
The which process are you talking about?
The asylum process, people that are in that facility are going to be...
Your interview process.
So our case processing per person on average takes about 2 to 3 hours. So on average per day we're processing about 16 to 20 cases plus or minus, and as soon as they can get either placed in a van or a bus of some sorts, then off to the detention center they go, and then we go to the mid-bridge and get the next 16 that are in line. And we maintain ourselves at those capacities.
When is that going to start?
That's been ongoing. It's been ongoing. We've been going at this since June that way.
Are they all asylum cases or are they claiming different things?
It's all asylum. Yep.
Wouldn't it be prudent for the federal government to send you more assistance in that process?
So we have
Instead of sending more reinforcements.
we have a lot of assistance right now. So yeah, so I'm pretty comfortable with what we've got.
¿Los que llegaron en la caravana ya están en la lista de espera?
Ya hemos recibido nosotros de esas personas. Sí, exactamente cómo llegaron ahí, pues no estoy seguro, pero sí. Sí, ya hemos visto. No sé si llegaron de seguro a las naves o llegaron a la ciudad, pero sí ya hemos recibido a personas. A lo menos ellos indicaron que sí eran parte de la caravana. No pudiera decir yo de seguro.
Can you tell us what happens during some of these exercises? I mean, we've seen police or other law enforcement in riot gear. I know you don't want to say everything that's happening, but can you tell us what's being done during these scenarios or demonstrations?
Sure. So mostly it's like I said, it's practice, right? So it's a matter of ensuring that our personnel from with a very quick notification to actually suit up, grab all their gear, and in a very organized manner march out to the middle of the bridge and practice their drills, right? So that there's movement drills. They typically march in a manner where they take up maybe a lane of traffic, but once they get to that set point, then they're having to spread apart, and they're having to communicate to each other, and basically get in place, and then at some point in a very organized manner then get out from where they entered.
So are you preparing for potential?
In El Paso, they had a situation where there were a whole bunch of people being put on buses. How are you doing this differently here so you don't become a situation where there's just people hanging out on the street?
So I don't understand your question. Which people?
They were giving court dates and they were taking out to the gay route, right? Buses.
Uh-huh.
How are you doing it differently here?
Yeah, so that's our CBP part at the port of entry is to process them, and then at that point ICRO then takes custody of them, and then they're the one that take them further. So I really couldn't speak to the processes there versus the ones here.
If an individual from Honduras crosses the border illegally over here, are they going to be sent back right away? What's going to happen?
So I'm going to defer to Mr. Hudak on that one.
So to answer the question, anybody that makes that illegal entry into the United States crossing the Rio Grande here in Eagle Pass, they will be arrested, they will be detained. The actual process of how their case works out is going to be uniquely determined by that case. It could be a criminal prosecution where we take them to federal court and prosecute them, or it could be a removal process through the immigration side.
But that's standard procedure, correct?
That is standard procedure, correct.
Nothing is changing in terms of immigration law or how asylum seekers or illegal entrance into the country is how it's processed.
Correct. The asylum laws, the immigration process, all of that is the same here that you have seen in other places.
So when someone is seeking asylum, do you allow them entry to the U.S. or do they have to wait and get us negative while their cases are being decided?
So right now, if somebody makes that entry, they will be arrested.
So but I'm saying like the asylum seekers, they're not being allowed into the United States right now. They're being sent back to tierras negras.
That's varying in different areas. Here, that'll be a case-by-case process if we implement that.
Can you tell us about maybe how many people per day are being let into the United States?
No, because that's going to vary too much day by day.
Can you tell us maybe over the last 3 days how many people have?
I can tell you the arrest numbers here that yesterday within the sector we had just under 100 arrests, and about 50 of those were in the area here that you're near today.
But other than arrest though, but I'm asking about the asylum seekers, the ones who are going through the process, have the approval, that have gone through the interview.
So that I can't speak to. That's out of the realm of my process. I can tell you the folks that we do arrest and put into that immigration process, whether it is asylum seekers with a credible fear claim, they all get turned over to the ICE enforcement removal operations. So they take custody from us and then they go through their process for determinations. So I can't really speak to their process.
Is there anybody that can speak to the actual asylum seekers that have permission to come into the U.S.? Is there anybody that can talk about
Well, so you're talking a different. So somebody that has a visa to enter the country can do that through the port of entry.
And can they get visas during the asylum interview process, like the 16 or so that are being handled per day?
Okay, that's a different process, and I'll let Mr. Del Rincon answer that one for you.
Thank you very much. We're done with
One question. Are there any special operations going on with Border Patrol right now to cover the 80 miles of border that are in Rincon? It just concentrated in 2 miles.
So no, for us in the Del Rio sector, I have 209 miles of border that I'm responsible for. So we're conducting operations throughout that area constantly. This is an area where we've obviously surged some additional resources into. I mentioned our partners with the Department of Public Safety, the troopers. I think you've all seen that very visible presence from all of us. So that's obviously going on here, but our operations still remain ongoing in other places as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last one. The beginning of it, I'm sorry?
There was a video that was distributed last night on social media networks of a few families being either turning themselves in or going to this area. But we just wanted to confirm that that was part of this caravan or this was just an
Not seeing exactly the video that you're talking about. We did make arrests here in this area last night. About overnight, that was probably about 35. And there were some there that claimed to be part of the caravan, but the majority of them said they were not. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Once they, I used to work for them. Once they get in the interview, if they are found under credible fear, yeah, but then they are detained. They are detained.